I own New Mother, New Baby. It's a lactation center, and we've been here for 17 years. Today, I want to talk about something called flange size. So this piece right over here, this is part of the Medela breast pump kit. And this piece right over here, we refer to as a flange, or sometimes we refer to it as a breast shield, and they mean the same thing. With the Medela kits, the flange piece comes off. This piece is the connector, and this piece is called the flange. Sometimes with certain breast pumps, the flange and the connector are one piece. So if you look at this flange, and then you look at this flange, look at how much fatter this one on the bottom is than this one. This is a one-piece flange because the connector it's just all one piece. So when you are flange sizing, and when we're talking about flange sizing, we're talking about the tunnel of the flange. So the part that your nipple goes into right here. And when we're talking about flanges, I want you to know that years ago, we used to think going larger help moms make more milk and help you to feel more comfortable when you were pumping. But in 2024, there was a big study done by Jeanette Mesite and some of the other researchers. And what they found is that when we go smaller on the flange sizes, moms were saying that the flanges were more comfortable and it didn't hurt. Sometimes when we're using a flange that is too big, it's pulling in too much of the areola and it starts to hurt when you pump. And then we also found when the flange was smaller, they found in the study that moms were getting more sprays of milk. And you don't always see this in the first few days, but what will happen is once your milk comes in and you're pumping, you'll start to see, it almost looks like when you shoot a squirt gun and the sprays come out. It almost looks like that. And so what they found is when they went smaller, many of the moms had more letdowns or more sprays, and they got more milk, which in turn helped to increase their milk supply. So when you're sizing for flanges, we use something like this. And you can see it has a lot of different sizes on it. And what we do is we take the mom's nipple and we put it in the flange. And you can see, we put it in the circle. And see how that fits nice and tight? But if I use a 24 size, which is what most of the pump kits come with, you can see how there's so much room around the areola here. We would say that's way too big. And when you start pumping with that, all that areola is going to be suctioned right in. And that can cause some damage to your breast, your nipple. And so what we found is when we find the right size, which on this was a real mom, I would say she's probably a 13. And so we measure the size over here. Sometimes we'll also measure the very tip of the nipple, which for this mom might be like this might be a 12. Like her tip of her nipple might be more of a 12, and the base of her nipple might be more of a 13. So what we would do is we would say that's a starting point. That's where we're going to start. So what happens here is a lot of moms come in for pump questions, and we have all the sizes. So we'll have the mom pump, because really the way to find the correct size flange is to go in for a flange sizing and find out what size feels the best, looks the best, gets the most amount of milk, and that's your flange size. Sometimes I measure somebody at 13 and I'll do a flange sizing, and they'll still say the 16 feels better and they get more milk. So just because that study came out, it's not set in stone. You're still sometimes going to have to go bigger, and you still might even have to go smaller. If you put a flange on and your nipple is not really barely moving, it's probably too small. It's not going to cause any damage to your nipple to try it, though, which is something some moms might worry about. We also have, these are called inserts. Okay, so you can either get, like this flange size is a 15. It's from a company called Maymon, because a lot of the pump companies, they don't make really small flanges. So what you have to do is you either have to get an insert like this, and these come in a lot of sizes. So you can actually go on Amazon and you can actually buy a whole, like a kit that has like maybe a 13, a 14, a 15, a 16. And then you would take this and you would put it into a 24 millimeter flange. It actually has to go into a 24 millimeter flange. You can't use something too big or too small. And then you see how it's kind of flushed on there now. And then you could try this out. You could try a whole bunch of different sizes. The thing that some moms don't like about these is they're a little hard to get in and then they're a little hard to get out. So sometimes when you're pumping many, many times a day, people just want to get a flange that they don't have to use an insert. So this company, Maymom, Maymom, and there are others, you can go online and order like, two of these. And then if for some reason your nipple size is different on each size, you can also order separate, if you may be a 15 and a 16 or a 17 and an 18 or whatever. So I just wanted to let you guys know about flange sizing. And if you have any questions, you can always find a local lactation consultant and make an appointment for a flange sizing. So I hope this helps. And here's to more milk. So get those flange sizes and good luck. We'll see you in another video.